animator. He got 4 individuals.
You can make it here in America if you're willing to try.
I'm with you, the American people.
A new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
Now we are in danger of being swamped by Muslims.
G'day and welcome to the Cunspiracy podcast. My name's Josh Wade, and on this week's episode we're coming to you live from the iconic Comics Lounge right here in Melbourne. On this week's episode we're chatting to ELLIOT Loney, who talks about his upcoming animation show, a bunch of other bits and pieces, how he became the bloke that he is today, and just some other general fucked up chit chat. You will enjoy the show. If you want to come see my show, I'm going to be in Sydney Comedy Festival coming up very, very soon. The ticket link is down below. Or you can listen to the show or help us out on Patreon. We need your fucking money, as always. This never just happens by itself. Well, it is just happening by itself now, but it would be great if we had your fucking money, because then we can do more. You can listen on iTunes and Android, the link's below. But here's my interview. Here's a May. I'm Italian. Here's my interview with ELLIOT Loney. Enjoy the show. G'day and welcome to the Cunspiracy podcast. My name's Josh Wade, and on today's episode we have, I believe, the funniest man in Australia, the most talented fucking cunt that's out there, Mr. ELLIOT Loney. ELLIOT, welcome to the show.
Mate, what an introduction. I've got to say, that's I've got a hell of a lot to live up to in the next hour, don't I?
Yep, so go.
Okay.
No, thanks for coming on. How's your day been?
No, mate, it's been good. It's been good. I had a lot on today. I'm lying, had nothing to do. So I came straight here. I was looking forward to it all day, and now I'm here. So
we're glad you're here.
No,
Now you're well known through Facebook videos, YouTube. You've done the Man vs Metro, a lot of those different things like that. What was it? What was the thing that sort of made you go, "This is where I'm going"?
Well, I think like yourself, Josh, I was always the class clown at school.
Yep.
I was the kind of guy that was always...
Were you always doing voices?
Yeah. As long as I can remember, I've always had a bit of a knack for impressions and voices and stuff like that. Go on your head makes me laugh, Colin.
I can say the same about you. But
Well, you're not wrong. I laugh at myself in the mirror every morning.
While
no.
jacking off.
No, that's at night time, Josh. Right? That's the morning.
And it's crying.
Okay, so back on track.
Yeah.
It didn't take us long to go off track, did it, boys?
No.
So I've always had a bit of a knack for voices and impressions. And I was always taking people off for as long as I can remember, my teachers, everyone. And I always spent more time out of the classroom than in the classroom. And then I never really thought of comedy as a career path at all. I just thought I was going to be homeless. And then I sort of, I started doing prank calls on Facebook, but not on a page, so to speak, just for my friends on my actual page. And then some of them started to garner a bit of attention just throughout my own circle of friends, and people were loving them, saying, keep doing them.
Yep.
A mate from my old school reached out to me, and he had a bit of production nous and said, hey, mate, I want to produce these at a higher quality. I made Bear Grylls and Camping Store as a prank call.
Yes.
You can look it up on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's
no,
still
I've
there.
seen it, yeah.
And then shortly after that, I wrote the script for Man vs Metro 1, and then the rest was history after that.
Yep.
I started making videos, and then straight after that, about 2 years on, I started doing stand-up, which was like the natural progression from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you have had an interesting, I would say, life, I suppose, especially like before coming into comedy and that.
Sure.
You've always been someone that's got on stage and been confident in your ability. I mean, I think one of the first conversations we had was over Skype, and you were telling me, I don't know if you were still doing it at the time or maybe you just finished up. It used to be a stripper.
Yeah, I was a male stripper for a number of years.
Yeah.
Retired now, hung up the G-string. So that's a thing of the past. But you know, I remember when I was quite younger. I was probably like 18, 19 when I wrapped up playing tennis. And
how does one fall into that? Yeah.
Well, I was like many people before me, I was in a long-term relationship, and you know, the first cut's always the deepest.
Yes.
And this chick put me to the sword in a big way. I was a heartbroken man, and I had a friend.
We've had some conversations off camera that are seriously concerning.
What are you talking about, Josh? No, but yeah, so I was quite heartbroken at the time, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Like a lot of people who go through their first breakup, you know, it's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who was doing topless waitering, who I just knew through other mutual friends, and he suggested, "Hey mate, get your top off." get your rig out at this stage. You know, I wasn't the sloppy rig that you see before you. You know, I had a bit of a sharper rig. So I said, yeah, look, I'll give it a try. And it was great for my confidence and really good to get me back on the horse, because obviously at that stage I was very down, and the money was really good. You get paid really well. And basically it was super easy because I didn't have my RSA. Like they'd ask me to make drinks and I'd just be like, I don't know like that, but have a look at my pics, mate. Yeah. So I didn't know anything about it, but
he's not the man that you want making your drinks.
No, absolutely not. I was like, Vocal, I'm hitting all tequila rooflin, is it, babe? You're right on that. But yeah, so I just kind of started doing that, and then the natural progression from that was, of course, doing stripping. So I got a bit of a routine, got my fireman's kit.
Yeah. Was there a song?
Yeah, there was. It was sort of like a melody of songs.
What was the go-to?
Oh, gee, I had quite a few. So there were like a few ballads in there.
Yeah.
There was like a couple of techno drops. There was a couple of R&B type things. Yeah. The routine went through a lot of. It was quite schizophrenic.
It was a bipolar.
It was a bipolar routine.
It was an expression of your mental health at the time.
You beat me to it. I was literally about to say that. But yeah, exactly. So
great minds think alike.
That's right. So yeah, so I did that for a little while, but really it was just to get over my ex, and then I started to enjoy it a little bit too much. And then I decided, look, I think I've been in this for too long now, and I wanted to. It wasn't really fulfilling me anymore. I felt like a bit of a dick after a while. I was like, you know, you look in the mirror and you're like, hang on a minute, this is not who I want to be. You know, it's just a bit of fun. So I just did it for a bit of fun, just to sort of pay my way through sort of TAFE and uni. And
it's not a bad thing. It's not like it's something that should be ashamed of. It's
no,
just
not
fascinating.
At all.
Like it's one of those things where you don't normally run into someone that's fell into doing that. Like I've just never understood how it sort of worked. But so you've had your stage time. I'm sure you've had plenty of stage time up there, and it's basically if you can get your rig off and do that sort of thing, then you can basically do anything by that point, surely.
The thing was for me, like as you said, I've always sort of found myself, I was in like school plays and stuff like that, but I never really took it seriously ever.
Yep.
So
you were in the boys' choir as well, weren't you?
For a little while. Yeah, for a little while. But then, you know, I realised when I went to school that being in the choir is kind of gay. And, you know, I was just like, no, mate, I like sport, all right?
Right, yeah.
Fucking cool, all right?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, so...
got to stand up to Western masculinity.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, you know...
fingering the chick behind the tuck shop lunchtime. That's sort of the epitome.
That's a bit crook, mate. But
don't show your talent. Just get those fingers wiggling. But...
no, where were we, mate? You've lost me. I was as soon as you talked about that,
you were in school plays. Did you?
That's right.
Choir. Then you started to play.
Yeah.
What sport? You're a sporty bloke.
Yeah, a bit of sport. I played like a lot of sports growing up, but mostly was tennis.
Yeah, you were going to do pro tennis. You were going to.
Yeah, so I sort of played somewhat on the tour for a little while. I've tried to anyway, but I just realised quite early that I wasn't good enough. I cut my losses and just kind of, you know, decided that I didn't want to be a struggling professional. You know, if you want to be an elite professional, you need to have, you know, not just great skill, but the work ethic, all that kind of stuff falls into it. Didn't have those things, so I decided to wrap it up. And you know, I didn't really play much footy at school. I played footy mostly after school a little bit, but I was rubbish at football. Just enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the camaraderie and getting around the boys.
He does get around the boys.
But
it's been a big theme the last 2 weeks you've been in Melbourne. It's been getting around the boys. And Elliot's been loving it. Absolutely lapping it up.
Yeah, look, mate, it's true. A bit of camaraderie never goes astray. But so that's how I fell into all that.
Do you feel like with sport, because you know they say that acting, comedy, all those different things, it's a craft. It's a craft. I suppose it is, because the more that you practice, the better that you get at it. But obviously there's a gift element there, in the sense of, you know, I can watch a comedian on stage and go, fuck, that's something different, to someone else that's just practice. There's always that extra bit. Do you feel like with sport there's probably more of a gift element, and then you know, like the training and stuff that comes in? Like, do you feel like you have to be gifted more, like 90% gifted and then 10%?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can get better with sports, with training and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Over time?
No doubt at all.
Yeah.
I just think that some athletes are born with a sort of natural aptitude for their certain field. I think that there's, obviously you look at some guys, they're built for footy. Some guys are built for tennis. Yeah. You know, there's definitely a genetic factor that comes into play there. But I think at the same time, you can be anyone, and if you work hard at it, you can be an elite sportsman. But some people are always going to have that natural aptitude that you're just never going to And yeah, just to be honest, you know, there are some freak athletes out there. And, you know,
well, it's almost like their gift out. That's what I was trying to get across before. It's almost like the gift that they've been given before they even started practicing the sport far outweighs anything that anyone could do if they started 100%. From day dot. Like, it's almost freakish.
But, you know, I encourage anyone to sort of go out there and have a crack at any sort of sport, because some of the best lessons I've learned in my life have come through sport. You know? I think, you know, it's some of the lessons that I learned have been very harsh through sport, but I think that they made me a better person in the long run for sure.
Yep.
So I don't regret any of it. I mean, I spent hours and hours, and almost when I look back on it initially, I thought, gee, I probably spent a bit too much time doing that, because it really sort of led me to nowhere. But I can't really say that, because I made so many great friends from all over the world, and you know, it was such a great thing for me to do. So,
what's your you know, if you could just get into it straight up, what's your dream profession? Like, if you could just drop straight into it, other than comedy. Let's say other than comedy.
Other than comedy. Well, I guess, you know, growing up, that was always my dream, to play professional tennis.
Yep.
You know, that was always what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And I guess when I was a kid and...
Is it too late? Like, when is...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, it is.
I'm washed up, mate. Truly.
Oh, damn.
But, look, I still love the sport.
You'd be the most entertaining cunt on the... You'd bloody give... you'd give them a run.
Well,
I've always
loved to. I would love to do a courtside interview with Jim Courier or Rafa as them.
Mate, it's going to happen. Surely.
It would be ridiculous. Imagine.
I don't know why it hasn't happened, or like, it's almost more mind-boggling why it hasn't happened yet.
I've always wanted to bust into a press conference as Rafa. Rafa would be like, I play very well. The match was fantastic for me. And they're like, I play very well too. You know, I play very good. And my match was much better than yours. It'd be such a confusing interaction. But yeah, no, it's a bit too late for me. But a lot of my really close friends are, you know,
and you're coaching as well, aren't you?
Oh, I did coach for a long time. I still have a great passion for the game.
Yep.
But, you know, I don't really coach that much anymore. I'm focusing more on the comedy and some of the other projects. But I'm always going to have a love and a passion for tennis and sport in general, I'm sure.
Okay, so when obviously right now you're working on a big project that you've been working on for a while, the prestigious 9As, which I'm sure we're all very big fans of.
Yep.
Now, tell me about the evolution of that, because that was obviously something that I almost remember seeing the first Snapchat of it, or, you know, it evolving from Snapchat.
Sure.
More as just like a bit of a, like, to me it just felt like a one-off. You know, you put the filter on and put on a voice, and it just sort of, like, it was almost like the stars aligned, and it just sort of then turned into its own beast. Do you remember that first fucking day of just where it happened?
So many people have reached out to me and said, hey mate, where'd you get the inspiration for the 9As? And it was such a weird thing, because at the time I was going through a little bit of a creative, I hit a bit of a creative wall, so to speak. And I was a bit like, what am I going to do next? And then I was just scrolling through my Snapchat, and those filters were available, readily available. And immediately, like, I didn't even think twice. Every time the new filter came across, I was like, this is going to be this bloke, and he's going to speak like this. Yeah. It was almost as if I had like a voice in the back of my mind that
for each filter
was just pushing me towards it. Like, I felt like I had like this creative energy inside of me that was like sort of using me as a puppet. Because I it was almost like I wasn't coming up with the ideas. It was really strange. It just came very intuitively.
If you want to delve down a path, there's a lot of actors and stuff that speak of this, and this is where you have that occultism in Hollywood and acting and stuff like that, where they basically, you go watch a bunch of interviews, but there's, you know, big actors and stuff like that say that they learn their lines and they're almost channel, like it's almost like something is in them as the hand that's sort of controlling them. Yeah. And, you know, it's not really them, like something else is sort of comes over them, and they're able to just be directed in a certain way, and it's just like, that's where it's got to go. There's just no...
Well, it was bizarre for me, because after seeing the initial feedback in the community for the actual Snapchat series, I had I just had like a bit of a soul-searching moment. You know, I went for a bit of a walk, a bit of a wander, and I walked to I was just walking down my local beach. I stood there in front of the waves, watching them majestically crash along the shore. And
did you really?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I did have the thought. I can't remember exactly.
You're lucky, because if I saw you doing that, I would have fucking turned this shit into American. Just went,
no, mate. Honestly, if you did not throw a rock at my head, I would have been disappointed. But no. So I had a bit of a thought, and I sort of weighed up my own options, and I said, hey, look, like, what can I do really, really well. You know, I tried to break down. I did like a pros and cons list for my own sort of how I feel about my own sort of skill set as a performer. And I said, you know, I do voices very well. I can do a lot of different voices. I can do a lot of different impressions. How do I utilize this skill set and create and create something that is able for me, that I'm able to sort of, I guess, showcase what I'm best at. And that's why I sort of thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if I could create a cartoon? Because not only am I then not limited creatively, but then I can sort of utilize my strengths and keep building on that. Yeah. So exactly. That's essentially what I did. And then I became consumed by that idea. And, you know, every morning that I wake up, I had a new idea for another character or and ever since that moment, I've just been sort of writing notes and writing almost daily, just trying to accumulate all this inspiration that I've got in my head and just put it onto sort of a document or a paper, because it's been non-stop, and it's crazy. I almost feel like these characters that I've created have become like my children.
Yes,
you know,
and the way that you were speaking about them yesterday, we were talking about it, and you had a backstory for everyone. Yeah. And I know that maybe towards the end of last year, I was like, well, for one of the characters that I do, Cunspiracy, I'm sitting there and going, I have all these little bits and pieces about his life in my head that I sort of refer to throughout the show. I'm like, maybe I should sit down and actually figure out who the fuck this guy is. And I went through and I sort of wrote out his whole life and stuff like that. But you've done that with multiple characters. And the way that you were speaking about one of the students that are at the school, I don't know what his name was, you said little...
I can't remember. Was it Tommy Roberts or
Tommy Roberts? Or something? Like, that just sounds like it's a real person to me already. Like, it's so believable.
Well, that's always been a major
Tommy Roberts
with my own skill set. Like, I know what I'm bad at, but I also know what I'm good at. And one of the things that I am good at is I've always been very good at character acting. I felt a lot more comfortable as a character than I have myself. You know, sometimes when I'm doing an impersonation, I almost don't want to break it, because I feel like I can be funnier and I'm far more comfortable as a character than I am myself. Yeah. So, you know, creating these characters like Mr. Parker and Gavin and Mr. Davis and Mr. Sterling and all these characters, you know, I feel like I'm imparting a bit of myself. And I think that's what people can pick up on. You know, I'm very passionate about this project, and I really want to see it flourish. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe in it with every fibre of my being. I think it's something that could be very special. I just need the right tools and the right people around me who can help foster this idea and nurture it into something great, which I fully believe it can be.
So you're still in development, but I mean, it's one of these things that most people, you know, sort of forget, that when you see something on TV, you take it for granted that there it is, and it's happened in the last few months. But you know, you might watch a TV show or something and they're using like an iPhone that might be 2 generations ago or something like that, and you sit there and you go, fuck, like maybe this was filmed like 2 years ago, and then, you know, 2 years before that they've been doing pre-production, and then, you know, you hear about some animated movies take fucking 8 years to make. 8 years. Can you imagine trying to stay fucking like, that's my project for 8 years on one thing? Like, it's a big thing.
It's one of those things, and that's why I know, because I'm so passionate about the project, I've made a promise to the people that have been following it. I want to see it through.
Yes.
And now
I think you need to for yourself as well.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, the community needs it. I want to bring something out there that I feel, because I mean, at the end of the day, I look at all these adult comedy animations, and there's so many great animations out there that you can draw inspiration from, like The Simpsons and Family Guy, and, you know, Rick and Morty, that's more recent, and, you know, there's some great animations out there. But the point of difference with this animation is it's about sport, and it resonates with anyone who's ever felt part of a team. And that's really special, because that's never been done. And when I look at something that's never been done in an industry, they're normally the things that take off. Yes. Because there's a hole in the marketplace for it. And, you know, that's the difference between my animation and those animations. And I just think that there's something really special about that.
And you've got the camaraderie down pat.
That's right.
No, you really do. A lot of the, you know, the wording and everything, the way that you've done it it's very authentic. It doesn't sound like someone that knows nothing about sport and teams and you know, those groups together. Doesn't sound like someone's trying to do that. It comes across very authentic. For anyone that doesn't know what the show is about, can you give us a quick summary?
Yeah. How about you just wait there, mate? I've got a little bag of tricks.
Elliot's bought.
I didn't know you were going to do this. Josh, this is weird.
No, he bought it. You grab that out. But he bought. If you can't see, you can come watch the podcast on youtube.com/Josh Wade. But yeah, Elliot's bought a bunch of little bits and pieces here with us. Scripts. Oh, he's even bought a little book.
Here's the This
that
camera
one
here, is
there,
it?
or that camera
Oh,
there.
is it this camera?
Yeah, yeah. Where are we today, everybody?
Righto, guys. So this is the sort of this is traditionally. So when you do a pitch, there's
Yep.
so many. So when you do a pitch, there's so many different things you need to do. This is the poster. I'm
just
gonna
pulled
whip
the
this out.
poster up for
How,
you.
how do we show? Can we show this camera here?
Yeah, I
Connor,
suppose
would you
so.
like to sit up and we can?
Yeah.
Let me whip out the poster
Yep,
first,
yep.
and then I'll go through some
No,
of the stuff that
all
I've been
good.
working on.
That's a big poster.
Oh, it's big, mate. It's big.
Yeah. I know a few people that would probably deep throat that for money. Damn. That's a real poster.
Yeah, hold the end there, Josh. So that's the vision. That's the vision.
That's
right
what we want to do right there.
Prestigious 9As. That's what it's all about. We'll roll that back up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so the animator that I've got on board for this project, his name's Sam Ross, and he's brilliant.
Yes.
He's just great.
How did you guys connect?
Really strange. So I was doing a little bit of personal training on the side,
Yep.
and I've been personal training his dad for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think at one stage I was talking to his dad about just some of the things I've been doing, and I was talking about this animation project that I really wanted to get off the ground. And he said, "Oh, well, my son's doing animation at uni right now." And I said, "You're kidding." So I met up with him, and
See, again, like, I believe in the universe.
It was
and
almost
like
fate.
stars
Yeah.
aligning, and that's just uncanny that happens like that.
And the crazy thing was, it not only was he it just has but he just exceeded my expectations in every way.
So
He was just brilliant.
and he was the perfect guy for it.
Perfect. And it was so
That's
great.
another variable that's just
The
like,
other thing is, I've had so many working relationships with so many different people, and one of the things that I found to be I was so fortunate with Sam was just we mentally synergized so well. Like, I would just say to him, "Hey, mate, like, I want you to draw something like this," and then he would draw something and say, "Was this what you had in mind?" And I said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind."
yeah.
Like, just brilliant.
So you've basically taken the Snapchat filters, so the filters that would distort the face a little bit,
Yeah.
and you've added a voice to them through Snapchat, and then after that, you've gone and created like a cartoon character
Yeah,
out of them.
some of them are based loosely off the Snapchat filters.
Yes.
And then some of them are characters that I've created, and I've just kind of given him a template,
Yes,
and he's
yes.
gone off and
Yep.
drawn them. But, every day I'm coming up with new characters, new designs, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But so what actually happened with the cartoon, I'll just move this tape for
Yep.
some reason, it's distracting me. So this is basically, I don't know how to, Connor, would you like to flip through this? Sure. That's basically a production document. That's what it looks like. As you can see, I've got the existing fandom there, the social media presence, and this is all the type of stuff that you want to show a network in order to pitch a cartoon. These are things that are very important. Because if they're going to give you money for development, they want to see that there's a potential to get a return on their investment. So
Yes.
it's really good to show them that there's existing fandom in the community.
But even the fact that
Turn the page, thanks. No, that's good.
just
mate.
get you to turn the page, Connor, as well as
No,
running.
not as well as do everything else, right, mate? So that you can see, I'm just giving the viewers here and the people listening a little bit of an idea of what it's all about. So I've got the social media support in there, all the existing fandom that already exists, and of course in the production document there's also character bios for each and every character. And Josh,
Do you want me to read one out? Do you
sure,
mind if I
you
read
sure
one out?
can. You sure can.
So, well, let's read out Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker is the
And,
star of the show.
If you feel like, if Mr. Parker feels like coming along to put anything in, then you're more than free to. So this is...
Very good, man.
Mr. Parker is 45 years old. He's
Yeah,
6'3", and the position at the school is the 9A's head coach. So here's his biography. Mr. Parker is the head footy coach of the 9A's. Born in the country... I'm going to do it like a ACA report.
No, please do.
Born in the country and immersed heavily in football community and a passionate family member, Mr. Parker was given I can't do this. You do it. It's your fucking thing. I just took over.
No problem. So,
Does Mr. Parker want to read it?
I don't know if Mr. Parker would read out his own bio, would he? I suppose he would. He's got a few tickets on himself. Maybe Gavin would be better suited to read out. No, maybe I should read it out as Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, of
why
course,
not?
yeah.
I've
Well,
always
you've got
wondered.
the voice. Hit me.
I'm Morgan Freeman. Mr. Parker is the head footy coach of the 9A's. Born in the country and immersed in a heavily... I think there's a spelling error there.
Yeah.
Either that or we're both fucking retarded.
I'm going to go tickets on the second one. I think
so.
could possibly
I think
misspeak.
so. You know what? I'm just going to read in my own voice.
Yep.
So Mr. Parker is the head footy coach of the 9A. He's born in the country and immersed heavily in a football community and a passionate family. Mr. Parker was given a Sharon before he could wank. A local footy legend in his own right, he had a promising junior career and was tipped to play AFL by various mentors and coaches before a horrific knee injury ended his on-field exploits prematurely. On a heavily depleted knee, he carved out an outstanding local footy career and is well renowned as one of the hardest and toughest competitors to ever grace a football oval. He has never once shirked a contest. And if you have a look at his head, this one here. Can you hold that closer, Josh? That's the head that has never shirked a contest. You can tell. That's an aggressive lid.
Yes, that is aggressive.
And it's battered for a reason. In his final game as a player for his local footy club at age 42, severely hampered by rapidly deteriorating knees, he pulled out one last magical Herculean effort and amassed 48 disposals and booted 11 goals in his final appearance as a player. He was then cheered off by the entire community and the town pub was renamed in his honour. Mr. Parker is well renowned as the greatest human being that has ever come from his country town. His fierce nature helped him to transcend his on-field tenacity seamlessly into coaching. Mr. Parker married his high school sweetheart, Raylene. And he lives with her and his two children, Caitlin and Charlie, in their family home in Melbourne, Australia. He's a real family man and believes that his family should always come first, apart from when footy is involved. Very important. He and his wife have a tremendous relationship, and despite their arguments, they always patch things up and they love each other unconditionally. She is one of the only people that Mr. Parker feels comfortable fully opening up to, and despite his hard man reputation, she believes he is a softie at heart. She believes, keyword. His relationship with his daughter Caitlin is great, although he is very protective of her and forbids any sort of romantic relationship between her and any of his players. He desperately tried to get Charlie interested in football. That's his son. Yep. But it is always to no avail. His son excels at soccer, and because of this, Mr. Parker struggles to relate or build a bond with his son.
Wow.
And his characteristics: passionate, fearless, determined, fearsome, driven, inspirational, innovative, honest, natural-born leader. And his goals are quite simple: to win the 9A's premiership and create a bond with his son. So that's just one.
Okay.
That's just one.
I like the subplot with the son.
Yeah.
And I can almost feel like that. I think American Dad sort of has this thing where the father has this weird disconnect with the children.
Sure.
Like he has children, but they're just.
The thing that I'm really excited about with this is so many people are like, hey, mate, it's, obviously Australia's going to love it. How are you going to get an international audience? And the way that I say that is, yes, the blood of the cartoon is AFL, and that's what's going to make it so relatable to so many Australians. But what it's really about is recruiting different athletes from professional codes to come and play for this junior 9A football team. Yeah. And the more sports that I can incorporate into this cartoon, the better off I'll be. Like, eventually I'd love to do NFL, I'd love to do cricket, I'd love to do tennis, love to do soccer.
Well, maybe in the series, Mr. Parker can, fill in for other coaches that are coaching other sports or something like that.
Yeah,
and maybe in
a fair bit of talk about that.
One episode, he's got his assignment is he's a substitute.
The thing about doing a cartoon or sort of any creative venture is, the hardest thing that I've found is trying to impart your passion for your project to someone who has the money to make that dream a reality. And that's the thing that I've found the hardest. I had an investor lined up. I won't go into too much detail. Yep. But he was ready. He was on board. Everything was in place apart from the signature on the dotted line. He was prepared to inject $100,000 into this project and just for development. Yep. And then the day before we signed the contract, he did a backflip on it, and that was fine because this guy, who I won't mention, was he was quite a successful businessman, and he had a lot of other business ventures that he had to work on, and a few things were happening, a lot of shifts within the companies that he was running. So he wasn't able to commit at that time. But that's still something I'll explore down the track.
Yeah,
but it's difficult because a lot of people who put the money in, they want to see a return on their investment. And it's very hard to show them a return on an investment unless you have like analytics and graphs. Yep. But it's very difficult in the creative space. I'm sure that Harry Potter, that J.K. Rowling, when she wrote Harry Potter, would have been like, you know, they might have been like, hey, it's just a book, but she would have been like, no, it's more than just a book.
Yeah, and it's because the thing is, like, you've got a vision in your mind for exactly what you want it to be, and you know it's going to get there with the right tools. But it's so hard to.
That's the thing. I'm burning with inspiration, like literally.
No,
like
I know. I can tell. Like, I've never seen someone put that much effort into.
I'm
like,
burning.
it has to work. There's no.
Well, I just feel as if there's, as I said earlier, there's a massive hole in the market for it. It resonates with anyone who's ever felt part of a team. Very special. You know, it's about sport. Sport unites the community.
Yep.
There's just so many positives. I can't really think of many negatives and reasons why you wouldn't want to put this on air.
I can't either.
And you know, I think that there's huge potential for it in a US marketplace. I really do. I think that it's a worldwide appeal. 100%.
You've hit a perfect spot as well of not being too edgy where it's like, oh, we don't know if we can put, like, that's not an argument with this.
Well,
you can't.
it's sort of the way I see it in terms of the edginess, it's a cross between South Park and Family Guy.
Yeah,
really.
mate, it ticks all the boxes where it's nice. You know, it's edgy. It's not like it's fucking The Simpsons, you know, 20 years ago. It's a great I just think it's so contemporary. It's ready to go, and it's just, like I said, I hope we sit down in 5 years' time and, you know, we can look back and go, fuck, that was the beginning of something, and you know, this is all happening. But it will happen.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The hardest part is when you're a one-man band. It's very difficult to sort of. I mean, I really do believe in camaraderie, and I think to get the best out of a project, everyone needs to play their roles. Like any sort of amazing sporting team, if everyone plays their key roles, you're going to get a great result.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this is my space. I'm good at the voices, I'm good at the characters, I'm good at development, but I need someone else who can complement my skill set.
Yeah.
And that's my whole goal as well, building a team around this, the best team that I can in order to make this flourish. And that's why Connor and I had a bit of a discussion off air. But, you know, Connor's a very talented man. You know, he went to Afters, so he knows how to film, he knows how to edit, he knows how to script write. Yeah. He knows how to produce stuff. So I think getting Connor on board with a project like this, you know, will help put some wind in my sails, and you know, we can build a team around this, and hopefully, as you said, in 5 years' time, I might be sitting on a really special thing, which I hope I am.
That's the thing. You know, you sort of mentioned before when you were coming on stage, we were just fucking around before the show, just doing some like intro stuff, just being silly idiots, right here at the Comics Lounge. And anyway, I was doing your intro for you, but you did another intro and you go, fuck, I wish I could be at two places at once. And it's sort of that thing where some people, and it took me a while to sort of understand it, embrace it. I'm a bit of a control freak where I'm like, I want to be, you know, if I could be behind the camera filming my own stuff while being in front of the camera, because I sort of have the way that I want it to be.
Sure.
Like, if I could be doing everything, then I would do it. But that's obviously not possible. And you actually end up shooting yourself in the foot if you don't get around the boys, and you don't work together as a team. And it's
beautiful time, love it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. No, but it's
I'm here all night.
It's true, mate. It's true, and you know, I think I really believe, I'm a strong believer in loyalty, and I've had working relationships with people where I've been fucked over in the past, and it's not nice, you know. And I think, you know, you should always treat people the way you like to be treated. And when people can tell that you're a genuine guy and you're a good person, you know, they want to work with you. And and I'm very transparent, and that's always the way that I've done business, and that's always the way that I've, you know,
in this industry, mate, that's the best way to get fucked over.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. That's why
fucking snakes.
That's
everywhere.
why when I do this project, I'm going to make sure not only are the people around me skilled, but good people. Yeah. You know, I want to work with good people. I don't want to work with people who are dickheads. And just like you, Josh, you know, I've got a good radar now. I've been in the industry for long enough. I can tell when someone's being genuine and when someone's being a fucking snake.
And
that's
slime.
so important. So important to know that, especially for young people starting out in an industry like this. There's
even like I'll meet someone and know that they're genuine most of the time, and then when they're being slimy, I can just smell it. And I just go, you're up to something. Like, to me, I always see life as a cartoon like that, where I'll be like, you know, I'll get around them and they'll be great, and then they might say something or ask something, and I'm like, I can see right through your ulterior motive here, and I don't think that you think that I can, and it's quite bizarre where it's just like
it's sort of like anything. I think once you go through something yourself, you come out the other end and you learn a lesson. whether it's a good lesson.
That
or
could
a
just
bad
be
lesson.
me being like an ex-stoner paranoid fucking freak. Just like, everyone's out to get me. What'd you say about me? I said, hey, how are you? Well, fuck you.
No, mate, but that's the way it is. That's literally the way it is. I think sometimes you go through things yourself, and you're able to relate to that certain aspect of your life or someone else's life a lot better than had you not gone through that previously. And touching on that earlier with breakups, touching on that earlier with entertainment, and I know you can touch on that yourself. So everyone has failures, but what makes a man is how you rise from those failures and what lessons you're able to sort of learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been my goal every year. Not only become a better performer, but learn from my mistakes and become a better bloke as well. And that's like my goal really, as well as having my own personal goals. I want to be a better person and.
And they sort of complement each other.
Yeah.
And like you said, sometimes you have to go through a bit of shit to get your own shit together and go, like towards the end of last year and through most of last year, there were times where I wasn't necessarily enjoying what I was doing. We were talking about this before, not enjoying what we were doing. You sort of get in this creative lump where you're going, I don't know what I want to do, but I've just got to keep doing this one thing to keep the boat floating. And then eventually you reach a level where you've got to, that's the only reason this podcast and some of our other videos have started, because it's like, well, fuck, you watch it starting to affect like other elements of your life. It's like cancer. It starts spreading and you end up going, well, fuck, I'm not selling as many tickets as before. I'm not, like, everything just starts to fall. It trickles down.
We were having a conversation about this earlier, and I think it's sort of, I'm actually in this right now. I'm in a bit of a creative rut because
I just got out. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
I know. But the thing is,
Connor will guide you.
Because as you said, like, everyone's on social media now, and you're starting to see the industry shift, where a lot of these people are starting to realise the impact and the power that these social media influencers have on the media. And that's why a lot of other mainstream media sources are dying out, because they're starting to come to terms with it. They're going, hang on a minute, there's something going on here.
I think they've come to terms with it, and they know it's dying. And what stage we're at right this very second is them digging their nails in, and they're scratching. They're trying to hold on for as long as they can.
100%. But the thing is, as well, is I'm at a place now where I've been around the traps for a while, and I think that I really feel ready to tackle a really big and like a large project that I can invest a lot of time in.
Yeah, it's only logical.
And that's why I'm so passionate about the 9As. And I cannot wait for the moment where someone says, here's the money, make it happen. Because I guarantee you, here on this podcast, that I will make a return on that investment tenfold. I'm going to make this thing. I want to make this. I'm so driven. I've never been so driven about anything in my life.
You don't have to sell it. I know. I believe you, and I know so many
people do, but people watching this right now, that's where I'm at, but the hardest thing, right, is as an entertainer in our position, is you have to keep making videos to stay relevant. And sometimes I'll be thinking, oh man, I've got to make a video here, but all I'm thinking about is, I just want to make this cartoon. I just want to make this. I just want to do stand up. There's so much things going on, but that's the nature of the beast. It's you've got to be so active across so many different social media channels. It's exhausting, isn't it?
Could you imagine if you were a musician having to release a song once every week? New video every week, like subscribe.
It's amazing.
Like, that's the thing. You just end up going, and then so you're making videos. I mean, the last fucking 2 years haven't made a video every week, but there's a time there where for 2 years before that, for this to all get going, you make a video every single week, and then in that time you're writing your 1 hour stand-up show, you're touring, you're doing all these different bits and pieces, and then eventually it's like, fuck, I don't even know if you stop enjoying doing that thing, and you sort of need to have everything collapse around you for you to then rebuild stronger. It's almost like human nature, like going to the gym,
100%.
wrecking your muscles, breaking them down so that they rebuild. You get bigger and bigger and stronger each time. Like, it just seems to be, that's how the universe works in all facets of life. So, I mean, obviously you reckon you're at that point now, and you've obviously got a fire now. And the fire, you've reached the ground low enough that fire's getting really hot on your belly, and you've got to make a fucking move.
Well, especially now, because I've had a bite of the apple. Like, Connor will understand. I'll bring you into this conversation, Connor. Please, is that microphone on? It better be on.
It's hot.
You'd be great to talk to about this, because now that I've had a bite of the apple and I've had a taste of someone who is super interested, because the thing is, I haven't actually pitched this product yet. I've been sitting on it and I've spoken to my management about it, and we're just kind of holding it, waiting until it's ripe, and then we're going to try and pitch it to the networks to try and get development funding, or Stan, Netflix, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But Connor, from a production standpoint, I worked with Connor on Head Above Water.
That's how actually I met Connor, through Elliot. Yeah,
it's a movie that he wrote, and mate, he's 20 years old, mate. It's unbelievable. It's such an amazing achievement. Like when I was 20 years old, I was batting my Johnson in my room, praying to God my mum didn't bloody walk in.
That's what I said. I said, like, at 20 years old, he's done everything that I've been trying to do since I was 18.
It's
and
incredible.
Just came out and just went, I'm going to write a movie.
It's incredible.
Make a movie.
But I know both of you will relate to me when I say this, but it's so difficult when you have someone who's so willing to back you and then give you so much. Like when this guy was willing to inject that kind of money into my project, I was going out and I was sourcing writers and I was sourcing animation studios and I was making phone calls and I was working like a dog only for the rug to be swept from under me. But now
that's a kick in the gut.
But the thing is, that hasn't actually deterred me. That's just made me even more inspired.
Yeah.
Because now I know I'm 2 for 2. I've shown 2 people this project in senior roles, and they've both gone, I love it. They're salivating at the mouth, So I can't wait for the moment that I sit down with the networks and just kind of see what kind of interest there is in the marketplace for something like this.
Yes.
And from Connor's perspective, like with Head Above Water, I'm sure you would have come across some hurdles with the, I'm interested. Have you ever felt like I felt when did you have potential investors that pulled out before?
Just a backstory before you get into that, just in case anyone's watching that doesn't understand.
Absolutely.
Connor here, he makes, does a lot of my videos and stuff like that. We work together quite closely. Connor, actually, before this, I met Connor through Elliot, and they worked together on a film. When did you film that?
When did we do it? May 2016.
I'm not actually quite
sure. About a year ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. Time flies.
So Connor wrote a film, ended up going out and filming it, and then eventually just recently sold it off to Stan and Channel 9, 9 Go.
Yep.
9 Go, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be on later on in the year. But that's how you two met. Connor, sorry, I'll let you go for it. I didn't want to interrupt, but just for anyone that doesn't understand.
What's the question?
Well, so I was just sort of wondering, because you wrote, you did similar to me. You wrote a concept, and you were trying to find development funding. Was there a time when you were doing that where you had potential investors who promised you the world and then swept the rug from under you?
Up until a week before shooting, I think I've told you this. Or
no, I don't think. No, you haven't.
We had an investor, and he committed like a certain amount of money, and then about 2 weeks before we shot the film, he pulled out 50%. So I had to get a loan out. So
I had no idea about that. So half of it was on a loan. That's amazing. I had no idea.
20 years old, you went out and got a fucking.
I mean, I don't regret it because I've met you guys. And
sure.
Good experiences.
Sure.
But
you made a fucking film.
Yeah, it's just incredible, but it's just amazing, isn't it? Like, I love hearing people's stories because I'm interested. The reason I brought it up and the reason I felt like it might have a bit of relevance is because I felt super inspired by this investor backing me and then pulling the rug. And I wonder, you going out and getting a loan, that sort of tells a story of itself. You became super inspired and said, you know what, I don't care about this. I'm going to go out and that's...
Because you could have easily just gone, well, hey guys, look, we can't do it anymore. It's not going to happen. And you went, right, I'm going to bite the bullet myself.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't know how you were going to pay back that loan at that
Still
time.
don't.
No, but you'll figure it out.
But that's the thing. If you roll with the punches, and that's you just got to see things through. That's it.
Exactly.
You got to see them through, don't you?
Yeah, you did the hard part. Money comes and goes. No one's ever been broke forever, and no one's ever been rich forever. That's the way I always look at it. So you'll be fine. But
thanks, Josh.
Yeah. So
anyway, sorry about that.
And if you want to hear more of that, you can head
fucking
over
irrelevant.
to our Patreon. You can get fucked, mate.
Bit nowhere. Sorry, mate.
You're right, coming in with me with fucking. And here's my inspirational quote of this day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so.
So on that note. Sorry, guys. You probably thought this was going to be a lot funnier, didn't you? It was pretty fucking serious, wasn't it, the whole thing?
We had a really great New Year's Eve, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Elliot came up to the Gold Coast and we went out.
I did.
And we had a look at the... so I've been living on the Gold Coast for about a year at this point. So I'd sort of... It had washed off, or, the impact wasn't as rough on me anymore, but... Had you been to the Gold Coast before?
Oh,
Surely.
I had, but I was just a little tacker.
Yeah.
So I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for the full frontal.
Yeah, so you've got fucking dickheads you've got fucking dickheads everywhere.
I've never been to
walking around.
Vegas, but my friend described it as a bogan Vegas. Because he'd been to
true,
Vegas, and
isn't
I was like, well, man, if that's it, that's it, you know?
It's true. Yeah, that's spot on.
Is that it?
Yeah, we were sitting down having a few drinks.
Well,
New Year's
Surfers
Eve.
Paradise in particular, not the whole.
Yeah.
Because there are some port parts, of course, that aren't.
They're
would know.
definitely still. Anyway, we're walking around, and there's this Conor McGregor looking fuck that's like, it looked like, yeah, he was pumped up on roids. He was
Yeah.
wearing this really
Yeah.
tight fake Armani
mate, yeah.
jacket.
Connor was
and-
there as well, just for the
and these
the viewers,
slippers,
listeners.
yeah, these slippers and everything, and these tight blue jeans. And he's standing, he was just walking around for probably like an hour and a half, walking up and down the strip, just on the phone the whole time, looking like he was just staunching as fuck. And we were laughing so much at him because this guy, you could tell he thought that he looked like king shit, and he didn't. He just looked like, you were saying the whole time, if this
Mate.
guy was in Melbourne,
Oh, it's just it's a different culture. It really is a different culture. But we were in stitches, you know. And just for everyone watching and listening right now, you had to be there. You really had to be there. But you know, it was quite hilarious because he just had a ridiculous appearance about him and a ridiculous sort of. It was almost as if like we were all laughing at him so hard, and we just thought he looked like such a dickhead. But it was so evident watching this guy that he was under the impression that what he was doing and how he was acting and how he was dressed was the way to be.
he wanted to be seen as like he
Yeah.
sort of had like his demeanor was sort of walking around, and he sort of wanted people to look and wonder what.
Like, I mean, let's try and really paint a picture here. The guy was wearing a velvet jacket,
Yes.
jacket, like leopard print pants, a
Skinny,
zebra striped shirt with like his hair in like a mohawk almost type. And he was marching around up and down on the phone, and we had no idea what he was saying. But all we could see from the other side of the street was just.
Yeah, he just looked so angry.
Like, he was just so angry. His eyes were popping out of his head. He was screaming at someone on the phone. And actually, I do lie. There were times where we heard his voice just carrying from across the street. And it was, you don't fucking know this. I am Conor McGregor. You know, this is the full game. You know, I think it was Conor McGregor. No, but in all seriousness, it was like everything. He obviously wanted to be Conor McGregor. But the difference was when we had this discussion, you know, Conor McGregor can dress like that because he's a badass boss.
Yeah.
He's like
And
a
he can back
UFC
up what he
fighter
says.
who's rich as fuck. That guy looked like he just got off the back of a truck, robbed a store, and found a phone on the fucking street.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Just
So-
basically the Gold Coast is just full of everyone that's trying to be someone that they're not, which is show business, really.
Pretty much. I think he's on the Comics Lounge tonight. He's coming up, isn't he?
Yeah, I just have to throw the vest on, and I can
Was
be
it you,
two
was
places
it?
in one time.
Oh,
Yeah,
fucking
well,
hell. I thought you just went to the bathroom, but it turns out that was you
I
across
am
the
a
street.
control
wasn't
freak,
it?
yeah. Got to fit in with Elliot. He's from Melbourne, and then fit in with me mates at the Gold Coast.
Oh,
but-
but we were talking about that though. Like, imagine if that guy went down to the local footy club in Melbourne. He would have got torn to shreds. Can you imagine him
Yeah.
rocking up to training? What's going on, guys? I didn't bring my football boots, but I brought this fucking elephant print jacket. You want to fight me? Oh, I would have got torn to shreds.
So what's up next?
Oh, mate, I'm
Getting
just
this on the road, yeah?
yeah. I'm going to try really hard to get this on the road. I'm started writing stand up again. I'm super
Yep.
driven to write stand up. And the other thing I'm going to do is I want to revamp my YouTube channel because for last couple of years I've been very inactive on YouTube. And I've finally come up with a concept that I think I can do weekly. And it's actually, it involves the Comics Lounge.
Yep.
I don't want to delve too much more into
Yep.
that. But if there's anyone watching this right now, if there's anyone watching this podcast right now and you've watched this long, firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a lot of viewing. Secondly, I'm looking for a videographer who's Melbourne based.
You fucking scumbag.
Looking for a videographer who's Melbourne based. And, you know, if you'd like to help me out, just reach out my Facebook page, you know, the one with the blue tick.
Yeah.
On the blue tick. You can't miss it. It's, you know. But, you know, just jump on. But that's basically what I'm going to try and do. I've got to torrent Final. Actually, sorry, I've actually got to go to the Apple Store and buy Final Cut. And then, you know, I'm away. So that's basically what I'm
You
going to try
do
and
need
do.
something weekly because that's the thing now.
Yeah.
You're competing with people that are just putting, and I don't want to put shit out weekly,
No.
but at the end of the day, this is why I love this podcast, because it's easy. It's a conversation that I can have. They're really fun to have, especially with interesting people. You can't force yourself to do something weekly, but if you find a format and something that you love to do weekly, then fucking easy. So,
and I may as well run you through the idea. I mean, we're not doing much else, are we?
No.
So what I was going to say was, so basically this idea is, so the Comics Lounge, they actually do live prank calls here every Thursday in front of a live audience of sort of 300, 400 people.
Right, yeah, it's always packed in here.
I always wanted to do a concept on my YouTube called Loney Live. I just liked the way that it sounded, but I had no idea what I was going to do. So my idea was, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out on stage every Thursday night. Doug Chappell is the guy that runs the night. He's a very funny guy, does some great prank calls. And then I was talking to the guys at the lounge about it. At the tail end of his performance, when he does his prank calls, he does some brilliant prank calls. I'm going to jump up and do one prank call. But the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to set up a hidden camera and stitch up one of my mates, or stitch up someone who writes into my Facebook page, like whether it be someone from a footy club or someone from a local, anywhere. And they'll give me the number. I'll set up a hidden camera. We'll organise it. So we cut from the live audience to the hidden camera setup, and you can just imagine it. Like, imagine the end of the prank call where there's, who is this? And then it's 400 people laughing. That's the point of difference. And I think that prank calls are making their way back, and it's something that I can do regularly. I love it. I get up on stage here, which I love doing. That's got the
potential to go so viral as well.
Yeah, well,
Uni lad and shit like that.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, I'd love. It's always been a dream of mine to be. Get up on Unilad and Lad Bible. But, that would be great. I mean, I think that'd be fantastic. And it's something, it sort of is that kind of relatable content that you could see on a website like that. But that's what I want to do, because it's a sort of a weekly thing. So that's my idea. And you heard it first on the Josh Wade podcast with Connor Fairclough and Elliot Loney.
All right. Well, we might wrap it up there, because we've got to get out of here, because I'm pretty sure they've got to have fucking 500 people pop in here for a show pretty soon. We've got to pack shit up. Okay. But because Elliot Loney is performing live right here. But Elliot, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for coming on. I appreciate it. I love you. I love what you do, and I reckon you've got some fucking... I've always said it to you, and I believe it 100% solely. You've got the talent. You're one of the most talented people I know. And I can't wait for this show to come up, and you let us know when it's all happening, and I'll do anything I can on my end to help spread it out, because it's all about the boys, mate. It's all about camaraderie.
Mate, thanks, mate. You've melted my heart.
What a way to wrap it up.
Yeah, it's a really, really great way to wrap it up. No, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Cheers, Connor.
Elliot Loney. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.